I never thought he'd go turbo.
Go turbo?
That's right. You guys just got plugged in. Well,
back when the podcast
first opened, Turbo Time was by far the most popular
Clown Shoes Cube. And Anthony
Turbo-tastic!
Well, he loved the attention.
Turbo-tastic!
So, when
100 ornithopters
got plugged in and stole Turbo's thunder,
New game! All right!
boy, was he jealous. So jealous that he abandoned his
Cube
and tried to take over the new one.
These are the greatest graphics I've ever seen.
Turbo-tastic!
Hey, is that...
Turbo-tastic!
That looks like Turbo.
What's Turbo doing in this game?
Turbo-tastic!
Mr. Litwack!
Turbo ended up putting both
cubes
and himself out of order. For good.
Yes, the selfish man is like a mangy dog chasing a cautionary tale.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Lucky Paper Radio. My name is Andy, and I'm here once again with my co-host, Anthony, the prodigal son has returned Maddox.
That's right, I'm back I'm back to saying that's right.
I'm slaughtering the fatted calf because the prodigal son has returned. That was one of those Bible stories right up there with Job that when I heard when I was a kid, I was like, that's messed up, dog.
That one didn't stick with me.
Do you know the story of the prodigal son?
It's been a while since I read that one, I'll be honest with you.
I'll hit you with my very distant memory of it, which is that you got a family. They got two sons.
Mm-hmm. Classic family.
One son leaves to go like explore the world and selfishly pursue a life for himself, leaving his family to tend to their farm alone.
Do a little Rumspringa.
Another son stays behind and continues to help the family and support everybody or whatever. And eventually the other son, the one that left, comes back in ruin, having lost all of his money and ruined his entire life and gone off the rails, and comes back to his father begging for forgiveness or whatever. And his father is just like, The good guy's home. Our favorite son is back. Welcome back, favorite son. Let's have a big giant feast. And then the other son's like, hey, what the heck? I've been here the whole time. You never slaughtered the fatted calf. Yeah, slaughtered the fatted calf for me. Now you're like throwing a big to-do that, this guy's home. And the response, like the lesson of the whole stupid thing is supposed to be like, you were always here. He was lost. Now he is found. And it's like, what?
The lesson is the eldest son is the best one. Yeah. That's the one who inherits everything. And if you're the second son, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, that is actually the lesson that comes across. I remember being in Bible school when I was a kid and having some adult trying to explain to me why that's like somehow a lesson I'm supposed to care about. And I'm like, this just seems kind of messed up. Anyway, I'm sure I got that very wrong and do not comment about it. I will not read it.
I'm not here to quibble with your theology, but I am here again, and it's good to be back among the living, and good to be talking about Magic again. I haven't played Magic now I've played a little bit of Magic. Didn't play Magic for a while.
Do you feel like you got a good break from it? Because I feel like sometimes you're on, the burnout spectrum, is it fair to say, with your relationship to the game?
I wish I could say I felt a little bit more like a break, but I feel like I was just pretty sick, and my brain kind of was just off, so it kind of just feels like I skipped through time a little bit.
You did a little time skip.
Little
time save glitch instead of actually resting and recuperating and growing dendrites or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're back. Cube Day was not the same without you, and the podcast is not the same without you. I mean, no.
But now I actually get to listen to a couple episodes of the podcast.
No shade to Parker and Bones and Cade, but it was like, boy, all three of you together stacked up with a trench coat, ain't no Anthony.
I feel bad for them. You're saying that. I think they're great. I was really sorry to miss those episodes in particular because those are some of my three favorite
too, obviously. I love
magicians.
them. They can come on the podcast anytime they want. I love them. I'm just trying to say something nice about you.
All right, well, how about we get back into some Magic and talk about some Turbo Cube?
Let's do that. But before we get into this episode, which is going to be it's kind of like a draft-along episode, but in the past when we've done this, Anthony, we have provided a seed file so that somebody can go and draft the exact same packs against the exact same bots on Draftmancer and have the same experience we did in our seats, and we each draft separately. The problem is, drafting this cube against bots does not make any sense. It's not really useful at all because the bots do not know the rules modification, and therefore they pass broken cards all the time, and it is not representative of what a draft against humans is like, even a little bit.
Yeah, because this cube, I should explain a little bit, is my turbo cube, where there's a rules change that all spells and activated abilities cost 2 generic mana less, which means all your 2 mana artifacts are just free, and all your eggs that are normally just these dinky artifacts that kind of filter mana actually are mana positive and also draw you cards. They're like better than Black Lotus. And the bots don't know that because there aren't a bunch of cubes where...
Because artificial intelligence doesn't exist.
Sure. And instead what happens is you end up with these decks that are just like, cool, I have like 8 eggs and I'm just going to win on turn 1 every time. So because bot drafting doesn't really make sense, we actually are going to do a live draft with 7 other people virtually.
Yeah, you and I are going to draft the same seat, talking about our picks as we go, and we'll see what happens in that draft. Before we get there, though, a couple of little pieces of housekeeping. First of all, a while ago, we did formally, on the bonus episode, decide on our next book club topic, which is going to be The Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman, a book I read a long time ago but have not revisited since. And you said it's been on your list to read, but you have not yet read?
I think I also read it in college, but it's been a very long time, and it's something I've been looking forward to revisiting. I did pick up a copy, and it's thicker than I remember, but...
I'm looking here, 368 pages, so it's a long one. If you want to join in on the next book club episode, pick up a copy of The Design of Everyday Things. I'll put a link in the show notes to a as least abominable company as possible to buy this book from, or check out your local library and get a copy there. It's been in print for a long time, so... Wait, hold on a second. Is this printed in 2013? That's not possible. This edition's printed in 2013.
I think it's older than that, yeah.
So yeah, check out your local library maybe if you want to get a copy there, and we'll probably talk about this, I would say, rough estimate, by the time you're hearing this podcast, in like at least a month, probably more. So you got a little time to pick that up if you want to do it. I'll try and remind people on future episodes as well.
And on that episode, we're just going to talk about that book, what we thought was interesting, what we learned, and probably tie it back to game design in some ways or whatever our other interests are. But don't feel like you absolutely have to read the book. But I think it's going to be an interesting read if you want to join in reading as well.
Correct. Yeah, you don't have to read the book to get a lot out of the episodes. We've had people give us comments that they really like the book club episodes, even when they have not read the book. So, yeah, not required reading. It's not homework. We don't do homework here at Lucky Paper Radio. But if you want to join in the fun, you can do that. One other piece of housekeeping, which is that by the time this episode has come out, the formal announcement for the Cube Fellowship will have happened. This is something we've talked about in passing on the podcast a little bit before, but basically, because we have a little extra cash from the Patreon every month that is surplus to the money we're spending to pay editors and do other sort of, necessary costs to keep the whole ship running. Got a little money left over, and we are paying that forward back to the community by setting up a fund to help send people to small Cube events. So there's going to be a page on the website describing this. We've given money out to a handful of people already. You can read the little bios, see who they are. And this is something I'm really proud of. I'm really excited about this. There was a whole episode of Recross the Past. It will have come out last week. By the time this episode comes out, do a lot of triangulation and sort of time travel here. But by the time this comes out, that episode will have come out. So if you want to hear me talk about it for, I think, over an hour with Cade, you can tune into that episode and hear in more detail what it is. But yeah, basically, we're just sending the Cube community's, best and brightest to these small Cube events to make sure these events are as good as they possibly can be. And we all know that an event is only as good as the people that attend it. And so we're doing our little part to make sure that the best possible people are attending these events.
I'm really excited about it. I mean, I think it is a very unique and very cool way to use this little bit of extra money we've got.
Hey, you want a pin?
I would love a pin.
You don't have to pay for it because all of your labor making the podcast is going to make it all possible.
I was going to say, I feel like I need to pay double for it.
No. I think you're doing a lot of work to make it all possible. Oh, yeah, I guess I should say specifically, we're going to be selling pins for supporters of the fellowship. They're costed aggressively. It's basically a donation and you get a pin in exchange, but you can find that on our website if you want to just have a little pin you can put on your bag that it's got no text on it or anything. It's just the sort of mark I made for the Cube Fellowship.
It's a super cool mark, and people will know.
If you know, you know. It's a little secret society kind of symbol that people that are members of the fellowship, maybe you can see the pin on your bag and know that you helped make it possible for them to be at this event. And just something that I'm proud of, and I think is hopefully going to make these small events even better, especially as this program grows and we see more and more Cube events all over the world. All right, Anthony, you described the rule stipulation already, but if someone is listening has never drafted this cube before, what are the kind of things we're going to be looking for and taking really highly in our packs?
This cube is obviously very different from a normal cube because one of the original stipulations was, let's take all these kind of junk draft cards and turn them into power, and it very much delivers on that. These Odyssey eggs and weird lands that filter for mana end up just producing tons of mana and drawing you cards and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think this sort of level 1 expectation is people are going to be doing a ton of stuff, casting big spells, drawing a bunch of cards, making huge mana, and it kind of feels like everybody is playing Storm. And I think you can have a good time and draft a reliable deck just sort of focusing on that. Like, look for cards that are really like taking advantage or scaled in an interesting way by that reduction in mana cost, and especially those things that are mana positive and card positive. There are a couple other layers to the draft strategies where there's also a fair amount of sort of hate bears, things that tax your opponent and prevent them from being able to do crazy stuff, and those are actually some of the more powerful decks, I think, if you can draft them well, and also importantly win the die roll, because it really matters who goes first in this draft. And then some other options you can do. There's sort of a discard theme in black, some lands and like big mana and make a bunch of tokens in green, and unsurprisingly, a lot of artifact themes, because artifacts are sort of most aggressively scaled by the change in the rules.
I think there's like a class of cards that are the best possible payoffs, and those are the cards I'm most excited to take really early in this cube. That's your like Monastery Mentors, your Chrome Host Siege Sharks, like those kinds of cards that turn what a lot of decks kind of already want to be doing into like a massive win condition and generate a ton of virtual or literal card advantage by doing so. And so those are the cards I'm always most excited to see really early, because that's like the crown jewel of my deck. Obviously, these eggs, the sort of mana positive and card neutral, or, you know, card positive and mana neutral, like those cards are all really, really strong, but they're just kind of enablers. They don't actually do anything. They just make your deck run faster and more efficiently and more effectively every time you do it. So I take those obviously super highly as well, but that's kind of like taking a Mox in the Vintage Cube. Like, you have to do it, but it's not what your deck is doing, right?
It's not the card that's going to win the game, but it is going to be the card that's going to win the game this turn instead of next turn.
Yeah, I mean, it often will turn the tide of a game, but it doesn't determine how you are actually winning the
Right.
game. It just means you get to do it before your opponent gets to do their thing. You've talked about this a little bit, and I think the sort of level 1 attitude towards drafting this environment is to like not really prioritize any kind of interaction or removal for the most part. But then the sort of level 2 is that if you have a whole deck builder on one copy of Monastery Mentor or one copy of Psy Maverick Thopterus, it's another really good example of one of these sort of big payoffs, then the removal spells actually become quite good. And I know you've said before you really like having a deck that has like a handful, like, you know, one good creature removal spell, you know, a couple good disenchants or whatever. How do you look at removal in this environment?
I think more important than that case is, at least in our sort of like local meta, what we found is that people end up playing the hate bears, sometimes in a very focused deck, but very often just a couple in every random deck, because if you happen to be on the play, you can dump your whole hand turn 1 or turn 2, and then cast, let's say, Phyrexian Censor, which says players can only cast one spell a turn. That kind of just shuts the door on your opponent, which can be really rough. Those are the cases that come up very often, that I really want to have a couple removal spells for being able to just like actually be able to take the game back. It's like a removal spell sometimes will just do nothing and seems like it's going to slow down the potential for like a really explosive start, but they can be really important in those cases.
Yeah, so if you're new to the Turbo Cube, you've never seen this cube before, I hope this will be easy enough to follow. We will have our cards mentioned page, which for this episode will instead be every single pack that we're looking at, along with the card we eventually end up picking out of that pack. So you can basically scroll on that page and follow through this draft card by card, pack by pack as we go. So definitely do that. We're not going to read the rules text of most of these cards, and we're not going to be reading the whole pack, obviously. That would be really tedious. So we'll definitely be talking about the cards that are highly in contention for us out of each pack. But if you want to be reminded of the rules text, and there are some weird cards in this cube on account of the rules stipulation you've probably never seen before, definitely check out that cards mentioned page, which will be linked in the show notes as well.
One other thing I would mention, just as far as strategy and sort of setting the context, there are some cards that look very broken, like Mirror Superior, which is just a 0-mana 5/6. Seems great, but turns out those cards are actually not as powerful as they seem when you actually see the way that a lot of these decks play out in terms of the amount of card advantage and mana and just big stuff they can generate that isn't just making one big creature.
Mirror Superior is another actually interesting little case study, because I think, yeah, the level 1 is like a 0-mana 5/6 is insane. And then level 2 is like, actually, this card, who cares about power and toughness? I don't give a crap at all. But level 3 is, this card is good because it's a free artifact creature. And it could be a 2/2, it could be a 5/6. Like, the power and toughness is not actually really that useful, but there's so many things that care about casting artifact spells, that care about playing creature spells, and the fact that it's free, just free spells are good. So it's actually still pretty good, believe it or not, but not necessarily because of the massively overcosted stat line.
Right, or you might discover that maybe casting your 5/6 in your aggressive deck isn't as relevant as being a free spell, a free threat you can cast, and then play an island and keep up a counterspell.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into this draft. We are drafting against 7 other human beings, and we're doing it on Draftmancer, so that is what you're going to hear us talking about as we are going through. And let's just see what we got in this Pack 1, Pick 1. Pack 1, Pick 1. I see a Wizards Rockets.
Wizards Rockets.
That's a power card, right?
So Wizards Rockets is a little bit worse than the other power cards because it enters tapped, so you can't necessarily... I got to remember all the details of these cards. You don't get it back right away. So yeah, I don't put it in the same category as, Guild Globe, something like that.
Still, it's card neutral, mana positive, which seems great. The only other cards jumping out to me here, well, it's a bunch of good cards. I think Spare Supplies is also quite good.
I think Spare Supplies is a good bit better than Wizard Rocket. It immediately buys you the first card back, and then next turn, you get an extra card. So it puts you up on cards and cycles through your library and, does all the stuff.
But it doesn't give you mana.
That's true, yeah. But you can't be everything.
I think Attunement is also broken.
Yeah, Attunement is the card here that is like the fair card. It's not just like a free card you're going to put in every deck. You have to kind of build around it a little bit. Attunement being a 3-mana enchantment that...
I don't think it's fair at all. What are you talking about?
You return it to your hand, draw 3 cards, and discard 4 cards. So it puts you down cards, but it just lets you dig through your deck so quickly and trigger everything that cares about drawing cards. I don't know. I'm kind of between Spare Supplies and Attunement, and I feel like Attunement's what I want to take.
I don't see Attunement as the fair card. I think Attunement is the most broken card here.
It's obviously very broken, but it's not just
it's the highest ceiling of being broken. Yeah. It can be like a crazy enabler. Spare Supplies is the fair card to me. It just draws cards.
Have you played this cube? Spare Supplies is not a fair card.
It is fair. It's really slow. It's not that great in a combo deck. Wizards Rockets is so much better in a combo deck than Spare Supplies.
I disagree because it's you don't get a card until your next turn from Wizards Rockets.
Yeah, but you can just play it and then combo off next turn.
The game's over by the time you can tap your Wizards Rockets.
So it sounds like the only one we can agree on is Attunement then.
Okay, yeah.
Attunement is having a really high ceiling.
Yeah.
The only other card I want to mention here is just Sylvan Reclamation because it has basic land cycling, not regular cycling. If it had regular cycling, I'd be considering it. Basic land cycling, I think, is considerably worse. And 2 mana or 0 mana 4/4, not good enough. Sorry, Stuffed Bear.
Yeah, the other card I would call out is just like a card I end up with in my deck a lot is the Arcbound Tracker. This gets counters whenever you cast your spell beyond your first every turn, and so that can actually be a pretty spooky threat.
All right, we're starting on Attunement, and I also like blue here because blue is broken. On to Pack 2.
We have so many great options here. Force of Vigor. Have you ever actually cast that card in this cube? I'm not sure I have.
No, I know we added it. You added it basically as a card that would allow for people to have interaction up on turn 0, basically. But here, I think we are looking at 2 good free cyclers in Countervailing Winds and Irrigated Farmland. I like both those cards quite a bit. There's also a Twisted Abomination. There's 3 good. And Rooting Moloch.
And Rooting Moloch, and Wandering Death is a free cycler, and Combat Courier is essentially a free cycler. So we have a bunch of just free spells we can do here.
We're definitely taking a free spell, I think. Force of Vigor also a free spell. So the question is, do you think being able to disrupt artifact/enchantment combos on turn 0 will be important? Pyrokinesis is a way to interact with creature combos on turn 0 as well, but a lot of the creatures here also are incidentally artifacts, so I would definitely rate Force of Vigor higher than Pyrokinesis.
Doubling Cube is also a card that it looks kind of innocuous, but when people are really going off and able to make a lot of mana, it gets pretty spooky, but I feel like because we already have a blue card here, maybe, just taking the Countervailing Winds and just playing it safe here is probably what I would do, but this is not an easy pick.
Countervailing Winds over Combat Courier Irrigated Farmland?
I think so. Yeah, another limitation of Combat Courier, technically, I guess it can draw you 2 cards for the cost of 1 mana, which maybe is better, but if you have a lot of the taxing effects, the actual just cycling is better against the taxing effects, which is maybe a narrow thing, but worth considering.
Already a hard decision, then. I think of the cyclers, Twisted Abomination and Irrigated Farmland are considerably better than the rest. I really like the typed land cycling here. Irrigated Farmland is also just a land, and it's nice to have cycling on your lands because you need to get enough lands in your deck, but once you're comboing off, you don't want them anymore. It's
true. It's also really good if you then have land cyclers, that the land cycler then is kind of a modal spell, being able to get you a land or get you a free card. So I think, Irrigated Farmland is a pretty reasonable way to go.
The other option I do think is maybe Force of Vigor, but I think you want to be in a specific deck for that. I don't think you just jam that in any old deck.
Definitely, and it can be hard to actually have the density of green spells because there are so many artifacts in this cube.
All right. We're going to go Irrigated Farmland then and lock that in. Next up.
Ooh.
Okay. So I'm really compelled to take one of the mages here. I find Trinket Mage, or especially Tribute Mage in this cube, is so good because it often can go and get you a card that is a broken card. And we're still early in the draft. We don't have a broken card yet, but chances of us getting one are somewhat reasonable. Those cards are jumping out at me on color. I'm a huge fan of Waste Not, and this is the sort of the time to pick it if we wanted to maybe try and do a Waste Not thing here. What are you looking at?
I agree. I think the mages are really strong, especially when we can get them early. It's funny to have them both in the same pack, and I'm honestly not sure which is the better one. I think
Tribute, personally.
Trinket Mage? Tribute Mage. Okay, so if we're actually looking at the list...
There's more broken stuff at 2 with all the eggs. And...
No, but how much do the eggs cost?
Oh, the eggs are 1?
The eggs cost 1, don't they?
Right, they make 2 mana. They only cost 1. You're right. I'm on Trinket Mage then. That's the mage I prefer.
Yeah, I agree that Waste Not is cool and it would be cool to pick up early, but I just think that, Trinket Mage is really strong. It is not a free spell, but that's okay sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, free spells there's less free spells in this pack. We're ignoring Smuggler's Copter and Spine Thopter as the 2 free spells. They're fine, but attacking, blocking,
Yeah. I mean, I don't think either of these cards is like broken, but definitely in this particular pack, those 2 stand out.
All right, we got to move on. I guess Trinket Mage. I'm sad to see the Waste Not go.
We might wheel it.
We need something for this Trinket Mage to be good is the thing, and we don't have anything right now, so we got to pick something up. Here, see, Windfall would have been so good with Waste Not. We would have already been doing it, Anthony. Already been doing it if we had taken the Waste Not. Windfall jumps out at me here, as does the Marsh Flats, and everything else honestly looks pretty bad. I think this pack is much worse than our previous packs.
Lelia stands out to me, but I like to play kind of aggressive cards in this cube, and there are just lots of other ways to trigger Lelia, just by, exiling a bunch of stuff from your library for all kinds of effects, so...
How do you rate the first fetch land? How are your fetch lands in this environment?
I don't rate the fetch lands as highly just because there are a bunch of typed land cycling cards, which are essentially just more fetch lands, and I think there's more things that those care about or trigger off of. I think that taking the fetch land here would be very reasonable, but I'm not like really high on it, so Windfall seems like a good choice. Ooh, okay.
Okay, a kind of late Urza, in my opinion, a kind of late Saheeli maybe as well. Also, Mana Gorger Hydra.
This pack is really
so
good.
much better than the previous pack.
Yeah, what's happening here?
I think Saheeli, Thirst for Knowledge, Urza, Mana Gorger Hydra are all better than every card in the previous pack.
I mean, there's also Dismember, which is like really good to have a turn 1 free interaction, and
that to me is like almost a sideboard card though. Like I would take it if there wasn't incredible main deck cards.
So I always really want to have like maybe 1 or 2 at least, just like good removal spells, because your opponent is going to do something that you need to be able to disrupt, or maybe more importantly, your opponent's going to play a hate bear you need to get rid of. But I agree, I'm not taking it over Urza, and I think Urza's pretty clear pick here.
And getting Trinket Mage and Urza, maybe nobody else is going to do the Artifacts Matter deck. Now, importantly, other people are going to take the good artifact cards. A lot of them are just universally playable. And now we're on pick 6, and this pack is kind of a huge dud in my personal professional opinion.
With 4 good black removal spells, but still a good black removal spell is not that great of a card. We have a Mountain Cycler, which is just a fetch land with some upside. I mean, occasionally you can cast this Ruin Grinder, and it's an artifact for all the stuff that cares about that.
I'm on Ruin Grinder here, edging out Temple Garden, or do you take Temple Garden to play more colors?
I think the second pick for me would be Deadly Designs, just because 1 black mana to destroy 2 creatures is pretty powerful. Or honestly, I don't know, is there any world where we play like Thalia with these other cards? I don't think so.
I mean, Thalia, this is the one-sided one. This does not hurt us at all.
Yeah.
So there's a world where we maybe do that. I think it's Temple Garden or Ruin Grinder. They're both mana fixing for a potential splash. And I think I prefer Ruin Grinder.
I agree. I mean, I like taking fetches before.
Great. Ruin Grinder it is.
Oh, what a pack. We've got my favorite Jade Mage.
We can agree we're not taking Jade Mage, right? We can all agree we're not taking Jade Mage?
Of course not.
So we have Wayfarer's Bauble, which is bad.
Free ramp, but it's kind of slow.
So bad. It's also only basic lands. And Phyrexian Revoker, I think, is reasonable interaction, and Thoughtbind, I think, is also a reasonable interaction, but this pack is pretty bad. Sunbaked Canyon, I think, a consideration, but if it was a typed mountain, I would for sure take it because of Ruin Grinder, but because it's not, I think it's a Phyrexian Revoker.
I like Revoker for sure, and it's also one of those cards that, game 2, you're just like, I just cast this turn 1 and know what my opponent is doing.
Ooh. Pretty late Hostage Taker, a card I think is often underrated here. We also have a Trip News, which is free and just taps down a thing every single turn, but that basically a sideboard card as far as I'm concerned. I like Elite Spellbinder and Overeager Apprentice, but I think it's Hostage Taker for me. Porcelain Legion are also a free spell. Honestly, a free spell and an artifact. Maybe we should be considering that a little more highly.
Yeah, it just doesn't do a ton here, especially if we're trying to do like combo-y stuff. I think I like the Hostage Taker. What's funny about it is that it more often in this cube ends up being a card that you blink your own stuff with, essentially. And we have stuff that we want to blink. We can blink Urza to be able to get more guys, blink the Trinket Mage. So that seems like a good way to go for me.
Back to our starting pack, we wheeled 2 free artifacts, which I think is a good sign. And now I actually do want these cards in my deck because we have Trinket Mage and Urza to care about artifacts, and some indication that maybe we'll have an opportunity to care about more artifacts in the future. Stuffed Bear or Vault Scourge, which is the one you take?
I think the bear.
I think the bear,
too. If we end up in a controlling deck, the fact that it's only a creature we want it to be is pretty relevant. It's funny to say these cards are pretty similar, but they really are in this cube. And the doubling cube came back.
Twisted Abomination also came back, is the thing.
It's funny how this late in the pack, it's like, this is still tough. We do want the Swamp Cycler because we have the Hostage Taker, although we might not end up playing black. But doubling cube, I feel like we need to commit to artifacts harder and maybe try and stake that lane a bit.
Doubling Cube is a card I actually don't like here because it's so win more. It's like, it doesn't actually do anything.
But when your opponent beats you with it more,
but you were probably going to lose that game if you swap the Doubling Cube out for any other card.
I don't know.
Like,
if
it
that's
almost
totally
never
true.
tips the scales, in my opinion. It's like you went from some mana to some more mana.
Yeah.
I like Twisted Abomination here. Godless Shrine. Perfect.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We would maybe side in a Cathar Commando, but I'd rather have some fixing. We got a Swamp Cycler. So Swamp Cycler for now, black or white is quite good, even though we have...
You want to put those other land cyclers on the land pile?
Yeah, these are lands. Sorry, Draftmancer, you are wrong. These are also lands. And I'm going to get an ultimate price.
Sure, that's our clean, not turn 0, but
honestly,
turn 1.
It's a pretty rough one here. Is there not better options for this cube? Like, there are lots of colorless creatures you want to destroy.
That's a really good point.
Last pick, Mana Gorger Hydra?
I wish we'd taken that Overgrown Tomb.
And the Temple Garden, which we also talked about. We still have chances. We've got 2 typed land cyclers.
And there are multiple shocks, so we could still see one.
There's also, all the eggs and stuff. So sideboard cards we might not be playing. I'm going to put Mana Gorger Hydra and ultimate price over there.
I honestly might put the Hostage Taker over there for now.
Just like assume we're only blue.
Yeah.
If this is the case, then our deck is looking rough right now, which is okay.
It's okay.
It's pack 1 of 4. We should say 4 packs. I'm sure we already said that in the introduction. Here's another Overgrown Tomb. Here's the Hallowed Fountain. Here is Altar of Dementia, Sunset Pyramid.
I think this is a pretty easy Sunset Pyramid.
Boy, yeah, Sunset Pyramid is kind of messed up.
I mean, it's a lot like the Spare Supplies from earlier. Like, immediately cycles, but then draws you extra cards if you have it turn 1.
I'm also looking at Nettle Drone here.
Nettle Drone, I think, is worse than it looks. It's basically 1 damage for every colorless spell, but it doesn't have haste, which is a big deal.
It does not have haste. That does actually really matter.
Yeah, for me, it's an easy Sunset Pyramid, but I am looking at the Overgrown Tomb. The Mana
Gorger Hydra is cool, but I'm not taking an Overgrown Tomb just to play, Mana Gorger Hydra. If we get another really good green card, I would start considering taking that fixing relatively highly, but... yeah, I think it's Sunset Pyramid over Overgrown Tomb here for me, too. Altar of Dementia. That's an interesting card. I think that card is also honestly quite good. All right, let's lock in this Sunset Pyramid.
Do it.
Archon of Emiri.
Archon of Emiri is
Stacks
great,
deck,
but we're not doing that yet.
And I think we'll wield the Ginger Brute and the Jousting Dummy both. So we can have whichever one we want when they come back around the table. Like, if we wield Tava's Provision, which we shouldn't, but if we do... yeah. That's when I'm going to start taking green fixing extremely highly.
Sure.
Sunset Pyramid it is, locking it in. Moving on to... There's your Farmstead Gleaner.
We got options.
We have a lot of options.
Farmstead Gleaner, which is a card that I just think is very funny, so I like to play it more than I probably should. Sir Ginger is a great artifact payoff. We also have Waterlogged Grove, which is good fixing if we want to play that Mana Gorger Hydra, but also Darkwater Catacombs, which is a double land if we want to be playing
colors.
black.
And Tamiyo meets the Story Circle, which is a huge, somewhat delayed card advantage engine.
I think we should take that, probably. Although Sir Ginger and Farmstead Gleaner are both very tempting.
I'm really tempted by the Darkwater Catacombs, even over those two. This is a hard pick.
It really is. It's a good pack. I mean, there's also even Kiora, which is ramp. It'd be really good if we had Kiora and Darkwater Catacombs.
We have what I would consider a pretty high curve deck at this point, which is to say 3 of our spells cost mana.
1, 2, 3, 4.
If we take Darkwater Catacombs, we're for sure playing the Hostage Taker.
Definitely, because we need ways to use that black mana.
And just, 1 land to cast your Hostage Taker is quite strong. Card advantage-wise, we do have Sunset Pyramid and Attunement and Windfall already. I mean, Attunement's not card advantage, strictly speaking, but you so many, you need to put enough lands in your deck that you have your first couple land drops, but then you don't want lands anymore, and so getting rid of those is kind of like an effective card advantage. I have yet to play with these dual lands in this cube, and I think I'm on the Catacombs here.
I think I'm actually leaning towards Tameo meets the Story Circle.
We got to keep track of who gets the final say whenever we disagree, so we can like alternate. Who got the final say last time when we disagreed?
You did.
Okay, well then it's up to you.
Let's take the Tameo meets the Story Circle. I think this
Okay.
card is
Fine.
It is slow. Like it doesn't trigger the turn you get it, but then it does so much.
Ooh, Scrap Trawler. Scrap Trawler, Sacred Foundry for our Mountain Cycler, but we don't currently have any white and everything right now.
We also have Hall of Tagsin, which just gets all the colors we want, which is great.
Yeah, Hall of Taxon just taps for any color. Scrap Trawler, I think you really want a sacrifice outlet
I
for it to
agree.
be really good. Right now, we can get back the Sunset Pyramid with the Scrap Trawler itself, but nothing else. I think Scrap Trawler is the highest payoff here. And I'm a little sad to pass Igneous Pouncer, but that might wheel because people don't respect the type cyclers.
I would be okay with either Scrap Trawler or Hall of Tagsin. Joyra is also tempting. Like red-green artifacts is really good, but I think
You mean blue-red?
that's the one. Yeah, But I agree that our deck is already pretty high curving, so it seems risky to take that at this point. I mean, it's also worth mentioning, like, if we do wheel some of those double lands, having a Scrap Trawler is another way to spend that mana, like it actually being a 3-mana artifact.
Do you think we're going to wheel our on-color double land? I'd be so happy, but I really doubt it.
I don't know. I don't know in this pod how highly people are going to evaluate those, because they can be not very powerful if you don't have ways to spend that mana.
I'm still not entirely giving... Like, I think off-color ones are liabilities. Like,
Yeah.
I think those are people maybe are overrating. I'm taking the Scrap Trawler.
Sure.
Moving on... Oh, I mean, Oko has to be broken. Lol. Here, I just like Watery Grave.
I agree.
That makes our Twisted Abomination get blue, which is really important. Metallic Mimic is also very cool, but cool is not good.
Cloud of Fairy is also just a free cycler worth pointing out, but I agree, the Watery Grave. Yeah, I say take the Watery Grave and throw that Hostage Taker in the
I
main
think we
deck.
might get the Metallic Mimic back. I think we're definitely playing Hostage Taker at this point, and I'm glad we are, because it's a really good card. All right, this pack, we've got Crashing Drawbridge, we've got Angel of Ruins, which right now Angel of Ruins does fix for blue-black, because we have Irrigated Farmland and Godless Shrine.
That's pretty cool.
And it's also an artifact that we can also maybe just cast at some point. And
I have seen it hard cast
Yeah,
in this
I
cube
mean,
for 1,000,000 mana.
This happens all the time in cubes that are like, weird context shift cubes or cubes that have broken strategies. Like, sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's 40-card singleton. Like, I'm actually really leaning pretty hard towards this Angel, to be perfectly honest. I really like how good our deck is in a long fair game if we just have all these big land cyclers we can just cast. And, like, Crashing Drawbridge is, like, a great free spell, and in some decks, being able to give haste is huge. It's not huge for our deck. We are not going to be winning, I don't think, with the combat step in one fell swoop.
Yeah, Angel seems totally reasonable. I mean, we also
Angel
have, like,
is.
Urza can just make a ton of mana for us, so...
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh,
We can
there's the Breeding Pool we
Definitely just
wanted.
cast stuff. I see. Now we're looking at Breeding Pool for Mana Gorger Hydra or Desolate Mire, which is a.
But we don't want to be playing a land that doesn't make blue.
You don't think
I
so?
feel pretty strongly about that.
I mean,
yeah.
half our cards are colorless right now. I guess only one card
Yeah,
we're
there's
spending
only
any
one-
mana on is colorless.
Exactly, yeah.
You think you don't want any lands that don't produce blue? I mean,
Yeah.
this does. Okay. I mean, you can also think of it as just a black-white duel. Like, are we playing Godless Shrine in our deck?
I think so, because we have now 2 ways to fetch it.
Yeah, but I think we're playing Godless Shrine. You also want Desolate Mire, do you not?
I really don't think so.
So you want Breeding Pool here.
Yeah.
In an otherwise dead pack.
Yeah.
I mean, it does open up a lot of future options, so I'll allow it.
Great.
We're going to sideboard that for now,
Sure.
though.
Okay.
Now we are on to a
Ooh.
pack with a Spellskite, a Pale Recluse, a Read the Bones.
I mean, if we drafted this Sheltered Thicket just as a free cycler, I'd be totally happy to put that in the deck.
That's also true, yeah. I would for sure play Shelter Thicket as a free cycler. It also turns Ruin Grinder into a free cycler, essentially.
That's true. That's actually kind of tempting, but I feel like we want to
If
commit
it was
more
it's
to
two off colors, I think is not
Yeah.
appealing enough. And I really like Spellskite when you have really high value stuff like Urza and Scrap
sure,
Trawler.
yeah.
So I actually am really high on the Spellskite here.
Nice.
All right. Monoskellion is a free card that came back around. Plague Engineer can be really potent against the right deck, but I think I just like Monoskellion here.
Yeah, it ends up always doing more than you expect it to. I'm trying to think
I
what are
expect
the
it
really...
to deal 1 damage to target creature or player.
Sometimes it does that many, many times.
I also like that this could potentially look at ways to proc our Scrap Trawler. Like, we could shoot itself. It could shoot Phyrexian Revoker. It could, have ways to buy back powerful cards if we get them. Right now, it's worth noting our Trinket Mage is getting nothing. We should be aware of that going into this next pack.
That's a really good point. We do still have 2 more packs.
2 packs, that's right. Yeah, I think the Plague Engineer is a cool sideboard card, but Monoskellion is very main deckable here.
Easy.
I agree. I told you we
you're
would
right.
get Ginger Brute and Jousting Dummy
You
back.
also said if Tireless Provisioner wheels, we should think about it, but the thing is we don't have real fetch lands.
We have Windfall, Breeding Pool, Mana Gorger Hydra. We did already take the breeding pool.
I'm happier with the Ginger Brute
You're
here.
happier with the Ginger Brute. I mean, Ginger Brute is something, it's at least a target. We should get a target for Trinket Mage just to make sure. Yeah, I think we should do it. This one also can sacrifice itself if we get a good... Is there anything actually cost 0 in this cube? Ooh, Sir Ginger Wield?
Sir Ginger came back. That's a little bit surprising.
I mean, I think that's goated. Kira's fine, but because we are going to be high curving, but Sir Ginger is like... Our deck is open, which is great. Okay, Oracle will die kind of late, and then Plundering Barbarian is also good, but we're not in red at all. We might play as Oracle, though, so let's take Oracle.
Man, green is feeling open. So Bristly Bill and Rex Sage are the last 2 cards in the pack. I don't know. These cards are both fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're splashing one, it'll probably be Rex Sage.
Yeah, I agree.
And we can flicker with Hostage Taker. I could see us actually bringing that in certain matchups. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good about our deck with how the rest of that pack sort of wrapped up.
Yeah.
So in terms of Artifact Matters payoffs, we have Urza Lord High Artificer, Scrap Trawler, Surge Injured the Meal Ender, and then Trinket Mage is not a payoff so much as an enabler, but obviously wants to go to an Artifact Matters deck. Right now, I think we have like a pretty reasonable, honestly, a sort of control deck that is playing things like Hostage Taker, Angel of the Ruins, and, Monoskellion, which you kind of laugh, like Monoskellion, but like a lot of powerful and synergy stuff is, in fact,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
a 1 toughness creature you can just kill.
Yeah, so like what are the things that we really want for this deck now? Like, would you consider playing some Wraths if we got some? Would you consider playing Heliod to combo
I would
with the
play
Monoskellion?
exactly Toxic Deluge
Yeah,
if we
definitely.
got it.
Okay, that's a good
and
point.
Probably no other Wraths, but I would
Damnation
for
we
sure play
have
Toxic Deluge.
already seen go by, so that's out of the question.
We actually have more green cards than we do black cards, which is kind of funny. But like Mana Gorger, Hydra, Rex Sage, Oracle of Moldiah, Breeding Pool, compared to Hostage Taker Ultimate Price, Twisted Abomination.
Yeah. What is the attunement doing here for us? Is there any way that you can really take advantage of that, do you think?
I mean, it finds the good cards and gets rid of the bad cards.
Okay.
You see.
Great. Sure.
The thing about Attunement is like it can be card neutral on the first cast if you just want to discard the Attunement, which you probably don't. Yeah, you put the Attunement and the 3 cards all in your hand, so you get 4 cards back in your hand. If you want to just like essentially cast a huge Faithless Looting for 1 blue, you can do that. So if we have no other reasons to discard cards that ever comes down the line, then that's fine. I want a much better target for Trinket Mage, frankly.
Yes.
I would take other ways to blink cards like Urza and Hostage Taker. I'm a little sad we didn't wheel the Snap. I'm not even sure we mentioned the Snap in the pack, but it's a mana positive bounce spell, and I think having that for Urza and Hostage Taker and Trinket Mage, like, I want ways to blink our stuff is what I want.
Especially with that Synod Sanctum.
Yeah, that's the card I want most. I want Synod Sanctum the most, and even if there's a way to blink non-land stuff, blinking Tameo meets the Story Circle can also be pretty devastating.
True. And we've seen some artifact stuff going late, so I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if we see the Synod Sanctum and the Archaeo Mender, which is a cool little combo in this cube.
A sick combo. All right, pack 3 of 4 packs again, and there's a Mossfire Egg. It's an off-color power card. I still think it's got to be the pick here. I would take Synod Sanctum over Mossfire Egg right now. Oh, there's also Moon Silver Key.
Yeah, so do we have any targets for Moon Silver Key as of now? I guess we don't.
With a mana ability, no, we don't. That could go get the good egg if we get a good egg.
If we have an egg that is as good as an egg, almost.
I mean, I really like Halo Scarab. I really like Ichor Wellspring. I really like a lot of these cards.
Yeah.
But I think you got to just take the egg.
That seems like the right choice, but it's a gamble. Like, I think the Moon Silver Key can be a much better card in our deck, depending on what else we get for the rest of the draft. And I wish we could just already be in a situation where we knew it was going to be great.
Well, we could very realistically wheel one of these. Like, we might wheel Ichor Wellspring here, which would be sick if we did. I think you got to take the egg. We also might be playing green cards, and this is a reason to maybe play them.
That's true.
Like, you just play a turn 1 Oracle Moldiah.
It'll cast Scrap Trawler.
Yeah.
These limitations are all important, but we also don't want to be passing other people eggs.
That's for sure. Yeah, I don't think you can pass this here. So, Mossfire Egg it is. Just be a little sad that it's the wrong color. Now, we have a couple of really good cards here. We have Mimic, Elsewhere Flask, Recruiter of the Guard, which we definitely can cast, and gets a lot of important cards in our deck, and also Transplant Theorist.
Transplant Theorist reload stuff from your graveyard into your library, which is really, really relevant in this cube. There's also an Elixir of Immortality, which is, relevant for Trinket Mage. I'm tempted to take the Transplant Theorist because it is a very unique effect that our deck will want.
Recruiter of the Guard gets Scrap Trawler, Trinket Mage, Monoskellion, Phyrexian Revoker, Surge Injured the Meal Ender, Ginger Brute. It gets our whole deck, basically. It doesn't get Hostage Taker or Urza, but It's a great toolbox there. We might wheel that. Probably not.
I think we're most likely to wheel the Transplant Theorist.
Hey, that would be a crime, frankly, if we did.
Who's in this pod? That's a good question.
I also got to shout out Chatterstorm here. Like, we are a deck that will be casting a lot of spells and could very realistically cast a big Chatterstorm, but that's not the kind of win condition I want to play in this cube, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, Mimic is also just free mana.
It's a Lotus Petal.
It's a Lotus Petal.
Lotus Petal's already a card in Magic, so that one is not as high for me as a lot of these other options. I think we have to take Transplant Theorist here.
Sure, I think it's a little bit bold, given all these free spells, but I don't hate it. Oh.
Collector's Vault.
Yeah. There is
Salvage
also
Mana Worker.
Salvage Mana Worker. And there's also Tishana's Sidebinder. There are a bunch
Sidebinder
of...
is not anywhere in the conversation, if you ask me. I think it's Collector's Vault, Salvage Mana Worker. This is an interesting conversation to have. I don't actually know which one I prefer here.
I've gotten to play with Collector's Vault a good bit, and I think it's great.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's card filtering and mana positive.
Yeah.
Tireless Tracker also here. And if we wheel that, then we're just going to switch to being fully green, I think. Let's just make that commitment right now.
But yeah, take the Vault.
Collector's Vault, really sad to pass Salvage Mana Worker. If we had a couple counter spells at this point, I might prefer the Mana Worker because you can generate mana on both turns, but, we can't. Yeah. Hey, look, Nettlecyst is here, but so is Scopiflor, which is a card I probably have to read. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+0 and have Menace. That's a very good win condition for us. We also have free selecting in Radiance Judgment and free selecting in Zagoth Crystal.
The Crystal's good, but I think the Nettlecyst is kind of the payoff we need.
Nettlecyst is sick. I'm looking for artifact sack outlets now, or creature sack outlets at this point.
Okay, here's a spicy pack.
Void Mirror.
It's a Void Mirror.
Void Mirror, Windswept Heath, Snapcaster Mage, Memory Leak.
It's a very, very easy Void Mirror for me. I mean, you're going to end up siding this out depending on who wins dice rolls sometimes, but this is such an easy free win.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not even sure we start this main deck. Our deck is the deck you want this Void Mirror against the most.
It's true, yeah.
I think this is a sideboard card for us on the draw, or on the play, rather, where it can be very good.
Chasm Skulker is also not bad, especially given we have Windfall and the Attunement, but maybe we can wheel
plenty
that.
of sack outlets before I am taking a Chasm Skulker, I think. I want ways to actually turn it into a real pile of threats.
That's reasonable.
You're going to call me crazy. I think I want the Windswept Heath here.
I do want the Windswept Heath, but I don't think we can pass Void Mirror.
I've also just watched people win through it so many times. I don't know. This is an interesting conversation for us to have after the draft, maybe, because I think this card is maybe like...
You're right that it's like, we definitely are the deck that it is going to be best against, which I don't know if you also want to bring hate drafting into the conversation.
I mean, I don't think it's correct to do, so we can talk about it.
Windswept Heath is going to get what? It's going to get
Godless Shrine, Irrigated Farmland, or Breeding Pool, and we do have the... We didn't take the Tireless Tracker. I lied. I thought we had the Tireless Provisioner. We got to make a pick. What's it going to be? You make the call.
I mean, Windswept Heath is the more fun card that's going to make our deck more consistent. And then we're going to lose to Void Mirror.
Okay, fine. I'll take Void Mirror. I get the next veto.
Okay, fine.
Scrabbling Claws.
Neat.
And Steel Overseer and Chief of the Foundry. Our deck is so open, but we have to probably just take Scrabbling Claws. We also have Island Cycling, Shoreline Ranger. I play all these cards.
Definitely.
And it's a shame we're not getting any of these back. This is so devastating. Phyrexian Censor is a good hate card. So I like Scrabbling Claws as a much better target for a Trinket Mage. It just replaces itself if you want to cycle, and the hate for graveyards is very real here. Steel Overseer would be fine in our deck, but it's really slow. Like, you don't get a lot of turns. You don't get a lot of activations of Steel Overseer. We do have a lot of good things to put counters on, but
we do, yeah.
Doesn't really matter.
Between Monoscallion and Ginger Brute, and Sir Ginger can just get huge.
Sir Ginger is going to have a lot of counters on it, and in any given game, 1 or 2 will be from Steel Overseer, and the other 9 will be from itself.
I think I kind of prefer the Steel Overseer, but both are pretty good
I'm
options.
going Scrabbling Claws.
Okay.
Calling it. Ooh, Goldvan Pick is a card that I think is actually kind of interesting, but probably not in our deck, right?
I think I'd play it, yeah. You cast it and equip it for free, and it can immediately generate mana if you have a creature that can attack, and the buff...
There's nothing else we're picking here anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
Coppermere is a free artifact that taps for green, which is maybe a splash color of ours.
No, I think the pick is actually pretty solid and plays better than you might think.
We do have a couple of very difficult to block threats.
The
All right,
question
Wizard
is,
Cycling.
Do we have wizards? Is
definitely
Urza
do.
a wizard,
We gotta
or he's
have
an
wizard.
artificer, right?
He's an artificer. We have Trinket Mage for sure is a wizard. We also have... That's it. We have
That's
Trinket
our
Mage.
wizard.
Trinket Mage is a wizard. Is that better than Confounding Riddle?
It's tough to say.
Confounding Riddle or Wizard Cycling? I guess actually we could be a Bygone Bishop
Bygone
deck.
Bishop?
To be honest, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Bygone Bishop.
And remind me, that one is on
I'm sorry,
cast,
6,
right?
7,
Not
yeah.
on ETB.
No, we have 7 Bygone Bishop targets right now, and most of them are free,
We
so
have
we just get to
Godless Shrine.
turn them into cards that draw cards. I think it's a Bygone Bishop.
Sure. I mean, I just
We're
don't
doing
feel
it.
strongly about the blue card, so seems fine.
It's a shame to not wheel the Recruiter of the Guard, which I knew we weren't going to.
yeah.
Do you just take Astral Drift here? It blinks all of our stuff.
Yeah.
I like blinking stuff.
I don't think we're going to play any of these cards, so sure.
I think we'll play Astral Drift. Okay, someone has moved on to green, which is good. I'm glad they have. Heartless Pillage, I guess. We're probably not playing any of these cards, though. Go blank or Collective Brutality. I think I like go blank.
And we did just take the bishop, so we could also get the Sunwing.
It is one-sided, I suppose.
Yeah.
It costs mana.
So do the other two.
Well, I don't think we're playing any of them. All right, get us all out of here. Boop. Heliod's Intervention is a card that I think I actually really like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Destroy 2 things. Sad last pick Summer Bloom. Nobody wants to do that.
Okay, so now we're in between packs again.
We need... actually, we're doing okay with Trinket Mage.
We have enough Trinket Mage stuff that Trinket Mage is very playable now. I really like this Bygone Bishop. I feel like it's brought our deck together in like a really good way.
Okay, now we have to answer the question. Do we want to take Heliod to be a combo with one other random card?
Just the Monoskellion.
Yeah.
We have no way to tutor for either of them. We already have one of the Watery Graves. I don't really care that much about the second Watery Grave. Hercule's Recall is quite good against us, but then we can just
Cranial
replay
Archive
everything.
is also a free cycling artifact.
Cranial Archive was the first one I thought of, to be honest. We're not going to get a Walking Ballista, probably. This is the 4th pack. There's also free... the Unearth is also a really good card here, I should say.
That's a
I
good
think
point,
Unearth
yeah.
is really strong. Free cycling, and the upside is huge. Even Mind Sensor is also playable, but I think I'm on Unearth, actually. The upside on Unearth is really, really high, and it cycles for free.
I'm a little bit leaning towards Heliod specifically. We don't have ways to tutor for it, but we do have a lot of ways to draw cards, and just having that combo seems really good.
I think we have so many ways to win the game right now. I'd rather just make our deck more consistent. But you make this pick. I'll throw this one to you.
I mean, and there's also an Arid Mesa. I don't know. This is a really tough pick. Is there any chance we wheel the Heliod? I guess is a question.
If somebody else has a Walking Ballista, probably not. But if someone doesn't have a Walking Ballista, then maybe so.
It's also tempting to just take the Cranial Archive because it's a free artifact.
That one is one I'm a little lower on because we can't tutor it with Trinket Mage.
Yeah.
And it's not a creature for Bygone Bishop. I care less about that one. I'd rather have a Jousting W in this deck.
Okay, so how do you feel about our mana base?
That's crazy.
Maybe that's worth
I'm wrong about that. That's
talking
crazy.
about. Ruin Grinder, we don't have any mountains we're fetching, so let's just get rid of that, I think. We do have... So we're basically Esper deck unless we want to splash the...
Green.
Specifically the Mana Gorger Hydra is really the only thing I'm interested in.
It's got to be either Archive, Unearth, or Heliod, right? Those are all
I agree. It's
good
those-
enough
it's
that they're
those
better
3.
than a fixing.
Yeah.
All right, you make the call.
All right, let's take the Unearth.
I like
Let's
that.
see if we wheel that.
I like it. I like it very much.
Oh, an egg. Take egg.
Gotta take
See
egg.
Take egg.
This egg has black, which is at least one of our colors. So honestly, our least color. We're more white than we are black at this point. I think black has been pretty hard cut in this draft, to be honest.
There's a Fabricate and a Frantic Search. This is a pretty good pack.
The Frantic Search is the next card I would take for sure, but gotta take the egg. We care about artifacts. Now we have Stonecoil Serpent is a free creature for Bishop that also is just a win condition. You can just cast that for a lot of mana, and it is resistant to a lot of the removal in this cube. We're not untapping anything with Voltaic Key except for Collector's Vault, which is good, and Sunset Pyramid, I suppose. And we have Forsake the Worldly as a good free cycler with modal applications. Here's the sort of question. Are we more a Bygone Bishop deck, or are we more a control deck? We have Heliod's Intervention, which is a really good control card. We have Hostage Taker and a couple ways to blink it, which is a good control thing. I don't think we're a control deck, though, so I think I want the Stonecoil Serpent.
For me, it's between the Serpent, the Crystal, and the Cycling card.
Steam Vents also turns Ruin Grinder into a blue source, but
That's true,
that
but
means
a
Ruin
little bit
Grinder is
risky.
not a black source, so we still need to pick up something else, like this Canyon Slough
Yeah.
needs to wheel. I think I'm kind of off the Ruin Grinder.
We can get the Serpent with the Trinket Mage too, right?
Yes, that is the one that can get
Yeah.
one or less.
So I
Everything
like
else-
having that as a...
For sure. That adds a lot of depth to our little package.
Oh, neat.
Midnight Clock.
I actually like Midnight Clock a good bit. There is also a Simic Growth Chamber or Necromancy. There's a lot going on in here.
I
I
think
mean,
this is easy. Midnight
Necromancy,
Clock.
the Angel of Ruins, could be cool, but Midnight Clock is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really into Midnight Clock in this particular deck. Ooh, That seems like a late Yawgmoth's Will to me. Fetid Pools is good, but yeah, I think this is easy Yawgmoth's Will.
Sure.
Do you agree? We're just going to get to like cast multiple eggs and multiple like cantripping artifacts, or just like buy our entire board back. Like now Attunement looks incredible.
Yeah.
We just discard all of our free spells and then we Yawgmoth's Will them back. We are now officially doing it.
All right, so do you want a Wrath? Shatter the Sky is here. I don't think there's anything else I'm really excited about here, so I might just say let's take Shatter the Sky.
I mean, I kind of like Mishra's Factory.
Oh, I really don't want to put a land that makes no colors in our deck.
But most of our cards are colorless.
I mean, but that's not really true. Like, how much of
If
the
that's
mana
true,
we
what
want
deck
to...
do you ever want Mishra's Factory in?
Not many of them.
You think the card's just bad here?
Good
All
here,
right.
but it's funny enough.
Shatter the Sky it is then.
Free Cycler in Archfiend of Ifnir. That seems
It's also
like
a free
the
cycle
choice.
very well. Like that makes Attunement insane if we just cast it.
Yeah,
so
that would be
I'm into
sick.
Archfiend as well. And now we're back on Committed to Black. Let's talk while we're waiting for the next pack here. Are we playing Militia Bugler here?
I don't think quite. Like,
It gets
Just not sure it's
creature
enough
power
value.
2 or less. So it gets Trinket Mage, Bygone Bishop, Hostage Taker Urza, Transplant Theorist. I think we are. If we're playing Bygone Bishop, I think we definitely want to play Militia. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not that one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 targets for it. Ooh, Mirror Entity. Soul Ring. Are we a Soul Ring deck, Anthony? I think we are.
I don't know.
I think we're the Soul Ring deck.
Hold on. We got a Plane Cycler. I think that's worth thinking about first, and a pretty good one. Like if you can cast that Alabaster Host Intercessor, that's pretty good.
I think we're the Soul Ring deck.
Okay, try and talk me into Soul Ring.
Okay, well, look. These are all cards we're casting with Soul Ring. There's a lot of them in our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Hold on. Wait, is it only 4? It's great with Heliod's Intervention.
I don't think we're a Soul Ring deck.
You don't think we're the Soul Ring deck?
I mean, I think we might play it, but our mana fixing's actually not great right now.
So you want Alabaster Host Intercessor.
I think that's where
Okay.
I'm at.
You talked me
yeah.
into it. I think you're right. Damn, I thought we were the Soul Ring deck for a second, but it turns out no one's ever the Soul Ring
Would
deck.
be cool.
Aven Mind Sensor, Kitestone Freebooter, Toll the Invasion.
I think we're not playing any of those main deck.
I could see main decking either Kitestone Freebooter or Aven Mind
Yeah.
Sensor. We have a lot of cuts to make, but I think I like Kitestone Freebooter. It's potentially will shut down someone's entire deck if their opening hand is bad, which is the thing people do sometimes, keep bad opening hands. Okay, let's just real quick while we're waiting for the next pack. What are we cutting from this? What's bad here? Because we have a lot of room for cuts.
Interesting things to get back. We got back 2 of the double lands, which, I mean, we could just play the blue one, and that's fine, even if we're not doing that much with green.
We have some combos with Ruthless Knave.
That is potentially true. If you're trying to say Soul Ring is great, then you gotta love the blue land that also makes an extra mana.
Well, I said Soul Ring was playable, and part of it was that it was an artifact.
And part of this is
This
it's
is not
just
an
a,
artifact
it's just a
land.
blue land. Okay, so what are the combos we have with Ruthless Knave?
I mean, the combo is like, obviously activating this ability is free because you get treasures out of it. And you have Scrap Trawler, Ruthless Knave, which surely means you get to do some stuff, right? We don't have a full, like, infinite combo or, like, deterministic combo, but we can definitely get a lot of value out of doing that.
I think I just want to take the land here.
Okay, fine. You win. We're going to make a bunch of cuts.
Yes.
I think the pick is a cut.
Oh, but I love the pick.
Okay, well, we have currently 36 cards with the equivalent of 8 lands.
We don't need that many cuts.
We need like 3 or 4 cuts, probably.
Yeah, we do have some big stuff. So like the off-color eggs, I think will still do things for us.
Well, we had Stonecoil Serpent for Soul Ring too. I forgot about Stonecoil Serpent.
Yeah.
Do we want to play any of these green spells? Main deck?
The only one I'm really excited about is Mana Gorger Hydra.
It is really good in our deck.
It's really good against the best decks.
Is it really good against the best decks? Just because you think it gets really big?
Yeah, it just
Really
gets
fast?
huge. It gets so big.
Okay, how many green sources do we actually have if we add... Because we got that dual land, that Overflowing Brain, which... Terrible. Basin. Overflowing Basin. Can't read from this distance.
Overflowing Brain. We can throw
So
in
if we add the breeding
pool.
pool, then we have no Island Cyclers, though. So we just have Breeding Pool, Basin, Mossfire Egg, Treasure Makers in the form of
The
Collector's Vault.
And the pick.
And maybe the pick. I think the pick is a bad card here. Poisonally.
The pick is the pick.
I'm putting Nettle Cyst in the creatures. I'm putting
Definitely.
Stuff Bear in the
For
creatures.
sure. That makes sense.
Are we playing this Astral Drift?
I don't think so. I don't think we have enough. Can blink only creatures or can blink anything?
Astral Drift can blink creatures. All right, well, that's some late good red cards, but we're not playing them this late.
I mean, we could just play that Valiant Rescuer as a cycler.
Yeah, free cycler.
Free cyclers.
For sure.
We ended up with not that many free cyclers, but they are good.
All right, draft over.
Great. So it seems like where we ended up is kind of an Esper deck. I'm not crazy about where our fixing is. I think you're a little bit more confident in your mana bases in this cube, where I'm always just like really worried about every mana has to be able to go somewhere.
I am not worried about our mana base here because most of our cards are colorless. I think our mana is going to be fine. What am I concerned about? I'm concerned about the sort of multiple directions our deck is going. Do you think we should like finish this exercise by building this deck in the next like 5 or 10 minutes and then talk about it all afterwards? Or do you think we should talk about it as part of building the deck?
We should finish building it. And I think especially because one of the challenges of this cube is, obviously you're re-evaluating every card and sometimes your curve is going to look really crazy. And so you kind of have to think about it. I think most people come up with different sort of heuristics for how they lay out their deck. What's your typical strategy?
I lay it out in terms of spells that cost mana and spells that don't cost mana.
Mm-hmm. I also usually will split up cards that are just free cyclers versus cards that are mana positive or like, we've already put the land cyclers in the land section.
I guess we can put the 1s and 2s together because they're all free.
You can put the 1s and 2s together.
All these cards do not cost mana. Now, you put the free cyclers, not with the lands. You put those in a separate section.
I would just make a separate section, yeah.
This is good radio, listening to us debate how to organize the Draftmaster window right now. I would count Collector's Vault as a land.
Sure, okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
And then you put eggs in lands as well. Yeah?
I usually have a separate category for mana positive.
So you have a separate category, but just...
Yeah, I have like 4 categories that are just free spells. Otherwise, I just have 1 stack of cards.
Okay. Tammy means the Story Circle actually costs mana. Move that up to the 3s.
You can throw that Archfiend with the cyclers as well.
Those are all land cyclers, which is different than cyclers. These are cyclers.
Right.
Those are land cyclers. And then I think the first question is, are we playing Astral Drift? And I think
don't
no.
think so.
It's a kind of a bummer because it's really good with a couple cards, but I think it's probably not that good. I don't think we're playing Shatter the Sky either. Main deck.
I don't hate it. I mean,
you just like having the sandbag a little bit and then wait for them to come into the board and then blow them all up.
Sometimes you just lose the die roll and you can make 2 white mana and you win. I think that's maybe the biggest challenge here. Like Toxic Deluge would be an easy include for me.
Yeah, Deluge is free. It's great.
It's so much harder to cast Shatter the Sky for us is the only reason I'm hesitating on it.
Are we a Windfall deck? I think Yawgmoth's Will is really the only thing that's great with Windfall. I mean, also Archfiend Fafnir is great with Windfall, but that's kind of a little bit win more at that point, I imagine. I think everything Windfall does, Attunement just does better.
That's probably true. I mean, do you think it's good just with Yawgmoth's Will?
That is the one card that makes it reasonable, I think. But again, I think Attunement is the better card there.
Do we actually need to make cuts? Because we've already got 10 things in our land pile, and I don't think we want.
But you say you don't count
12.
the eggs as lands?
Yeah, but then 10 lands plus the 2 eggs. I feel like that seems pretty reasonable. I might just throw an island and a plains in here, or an island and a swamp. Island and plains.
Let me think here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at 7 blue sources right now. You want to play the Goldvein pick in this deck?
Yeah. I think it'll surprise you.
I mean, it's really good with Ginger Brute.
Mm-hmm. And Urza.
Sir Ginger, I guess, is fine because it has Trample, Hexproof, and Haste. It's not going to have that. It's not going to have any of those things. It's probably fine with Sir Ginger, though. Okay, fine. We'll keep the pick. I think my concern about this deck is it's a little bit unfocused. Let's commit to a build, and then if we adjust it in the recording of the podcast, we can do that.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
Well, that's a deck.
That's a deck.
Let's take a little break, and then we'll analyze it. All right, Anthony. How do you feel about our deck?
It's a tough deck to evaluate because I feel like we're just going to have some hands that we're just going to end up with a bunch of free, efficient creatures, and we're just going to be able to get our opponent dead. We'll have some games where we get to do big, huge mana stuff with Urza. Now that I'm talking about Urza more, I wonder if maybe having some more mana sinks would have been good. I mean, we do have, remember the Midnight Clock. Can we just spam that, or do we need to? We can. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty reasonable mana sink there.
I also do think Killian's Intervention is a really good mana sink.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, we can
just Plague Wind against a lot of decks.
Yeah, okay, so we can actually destroy a bunch of stuff, and there are a bunch of artifact creatures and stuff like that. But I don't think this is the most busted deck I've ever seen in this cube.
Yeah, not by a wide margin. I think this is a little unfocused, but I would say it's almost the perfect average Turbo Cube deck.
Yeah.
Where it's got some broken stuff that can happen, right? Like, I think Bygone Bishop paired with our many free creatures that trigger Bygone Bishop, I think is very strong. Urza into the rest of our deck is very strong. There's definitely some things where Scrap Trawler will come in handy that we don't have a good sack outlet. I'm kind of sad we didn't get that Ruthless Knave, but we didn't actually have a real combo for it. We were just going to be doing it kind of for value, which is a little bit rough. But, we can definitely sacrifice one of our Gingerbread Men for one of our key artifact pieces that costs 1 mana if we want to get one of those back, or we can buy back our, Stonecoil Serpent that way. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's middle of the road. There's some power outliers, but we're also playing some cards that I'd rather frankly not be playing. Like your Gold Vein pick is a card I'd rather not be playing. I'd rather not be main decking a Phyrexian Revoker probably, but
I think Revoker is pretty good. I mean,
it is in our deck, but I would rather have a better free creature, right? Just in terms of raw power level, it plays an effective role because we need cheap artifacts to do stuff with.
And then the last two things I would call out just in terms of flexibility is the Transplant Theorist will be very relevant in some games. And, there will potentially be some games where we end up drawing...
every game. It's also just going to loot every time we play an artifact.
Right. So it's going to dig through our deck very quickly. That's a good point. I think I focus a lot on the being able to recycle our graveyard, but the looting is also very relevant. And we're potentially just going to have some huge games where we draw a ton of cards off of Tamiyo Meets the Story Circle. Having that at least one way to recycle our graveyard, I think is very powerful. And on the other side, we do have big stuff with Angel of Ruins and the Alabaster Host Intercessor, these things that we're primarily just playing as lands.
I think this deck will cast those quite a bit.
Sometimes
actually.
we'll be casting those, and that'll be...
We'll just put them back in with Transplant Theorist late and draw them and cast them, and it will be good. It will work. Now, in terms of actually getting to white for something like Angel of Ruin...
Oh, don't worry, we have Gold Vein Pick.
We do have Gold Vein Pick. We actually only have 2 lands that tap for white in our whole deck. No, I'm sorry, we added a Plains, right? We did.
Yeah,
we added one
Plains.
We have 3 that tap for white in our whole deck. We have lots of ways to get them, so it's not like that's our only mana fixing for white, but that plus Collector's Vault and Gold Vein Pick, maybe a little hard potentially to cast these double white spells. That is actually the one part of the mana I'm maybe a little worried about, but we do have ways to cycle, like Attunement and Transplant Theorist, and even just, Windfall, are good ways to just get rid of cards you don't need anymore and draw cards that are good later. You said one way to rebuy the graveyard. We also have Yawgmoth's Will, which is, I think,
true.
A really potent, the combination of Transplant Theorist and Yawgmoth's Will means it's really hard for anyone to really beat us in a long game if we can get set up, because you can just buy the Transplant Theorist back a second time with Yawgmoth's Will if you need to, which is quite strong.
Yeah, I guess that's really kind of the main limitation I see here is that we have some ways to dig really deep into our deck, but we don't have a combo finish to just end the game. So we are going to have to figure out how to win a long game a little bit more slowly.
Yeah, we have a lot of good, fair stuff, but nothing crazy explosive. And we could have had Heliod, but what did we take over Heliod? Go back and check the cards mentioned page, which will have, instead of the cards mentioned, in fact, just this draft laid out for you, pack by pack. I forget we took over Heliod. I think it was just land or land cycler. Who knows? I'm sure you can find out by looking at that page. But that would be a way to potentially end the game quickly. But that card is just so bad to draw in every other circumstance that I don't know that I'd even be that excited about it. I would definitely play it in this deck. I would definitely put Heliod in this pile of cards over one of these less exciting ones.
Agreed.
I think it's a solid C, maybe a C+. I think this is one of the decks that will be a little harder to pilot in this cube than perhaps others, because you are a lot of triggers and sequencing really matters, and there's a lot of ways to buy things back, so you have a lot of decisions available to you. You're going to want to know, should I cycle my Archfiend of Ifnir and Unearth, or should I actually cast them based on your individual hands? All that stuff is going to matter. But I think a good pilot could take us to a 2-1, and I think the average pilot would probably 1-2 with this deck, maybe 2-1.
I do kind of still wonder about Managorger Hydra. I feel like we have 4 green sources if we throw in the Breeding Pool, and that card just sometimes wins the game on its own.
All right, well, what do you cut for it? Breeding Pool over Island.
Breeding Pool over Island.
Managorger Hydra.
41 card special.
Managorger Hydra over what?
Honestly, a Stuffed Bear might be the cut. Or Valiant Rescuer as just one of the free cyclers, which is good. We should be playing those. It feels like a mistake to cut them, but everything else does feel like it's doing stuff.
I wonder if at that point you just start Shadow of Sky in the sideboard, but I know you don't want to do that, and I think it's reasonable to not.
I think that's defensible, actually. Because there are plenty of decks that just will not care about Shadow of the Sky. They're just going to win on a combo, and there's also plenty of...
And also double white is hard for us.
Yeah. Okay, I think I like this. It's a little weird, it's a little risky, we'll definitely just sometimes not be able to cast it.
So we have Mossfire Egg, Collector's Vault, Breeding Pool...
And the Overflowing Brain.
Overflowing Basin, and Gold Vein Pick. like I said, there's ways to just get rid of this card. We can also discard it and unearth it.
True.
We don't even
Yeah.
need green mana to get this into play.
Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, I like that change too. I think it's a good swap.
Now this deck, B+.
I'm still going C+ on my end personally. But yeah, I think this is fine. And I think this is emblematic of what drafting this cube is like. Do you have any reflections as the cube designer looking at this draft? If someone's listening and this is one of the first context shift cubes they have ever sort of been experienced or exposed to, and this draft was their first exposure to us talking through what picks look like here, what are your thoughts on how this draft played out in terms of your cube design goals?
Yeah, I mean, I think it plays out like a lot of these do, where when you're looking at this radical context shift cube, you end up thinking about the high highs, and it's like, oh, great, I'm going to draft all these eggs, and I'm going to end up with a super broken, powerful deck. And I think our deck is pretty broken and powerful in a lot of ways, but also, yeah, I mean, we got 2 pieces of quote-unquote power, and we're actually not going to be able to utilize them as well as we'd love
I
to.
think Collector's Vault is actually our real power.
Collector's Vault actually is going to end up being a bigger role player in our deck. I mean, you're always going to play the eggs because they just cycle for free, but they're not necessarily always going to carry you in the way that you'd hope or have that like really explosive turn 1. I think what's really important is sort of like thinking about those differences in terms of like, oh yeah, this double land, the filter lands that you just pay 1 colorless, aka nothing, to make 2 mana, seem super broken, and they are.
But really wish we had the blue-black one. So.
Yeah, that's true. But that second layer of, well, we actually have so few ways to spend generic mana that actually they're less powerful, and sort of thinking of those like second-order kind of effects.
I do think you're right that
is
this is
interesting.
not a Soul Ring deck. So you were right on that one. But I still really wish we had the blue-black land because
It'd be pretty good for us here.
additional mana fixing would be huge. We have plenty of playables, right? I think we should have taken lands more highly in general overall this draft.
I agree.
Which is something I always think, and I think actually in a lot of regular cube drafts, I actually over-index on lands because I do value them so highly. But in a context shift cube, it's really hard to know, like, I mean, is a land better than, an off-color egg? I think we had that decision, a like good on-color land or Mossfire Egg. I still think it's Mossfire Egg here, and we kind of made it on color by playing Mana Gorger Hydra, but I don't know. It's kind of hard. I wish we had a couple more lands, especially that blue-black dual land would have been the one I want the most, or we don't have the black-white one. We talked about maybe taking the black-white one. I still wish we had that one. You didn't want to take a non-blue land, but I think I'd be really happy to have that.
Yeah, I get my head twisted a little bit with the mana bases here. Because like we also are only playing 2 basics right now, so it's not like we could have afforded to take that many more lands.
True. We also might be a little land light, to be honest, if you're not counting eggs as lands. We have 9?
9? That seems great to me. I'm good with 9.
But the thing is, we're a higher curving deck. Like, there's a lot of decks where I'm very happy with 9. Here, I do want to hit my second land drop, and I think we will most of the time because we do have plenty of ways to draw cards without spending any mana. We're probably spending 1 mana. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting, very regular draft
Regular
of the
draft
Turbo
of the
Cube.
Turbo Cube. I haven't played this cube in a while. I'm excited to maybe bring that out to our next cube night.
The docket is already almost full, so make sure you get it in there. Actually,
Oh.
you should probably wait, because I'm bringing 100 Ornithopters because I have a bunch of new changes. I don't think we should have a too insanity night, but you should preemptively put it on the docket for next week as soon as the docket rolls over. But on that bombshell, that brings us to the conclusion of this episode of Lucky Paper Radio. Thank you all for tuning in. All the music for this show is produced by DJ James Nasty, and the show is edited by Matthew. If you like what we're doing here at Lucky Paper Radio and at the broader Lucky Paper website, you can support us on Patreon. That link is in the show notes. All the Magic cards are produced by Wizards of the Coast, and this podcast is produced by thinking really hard about Magic cards and speaking into microphones about it. Anthony, thank you for the gift of friendship and for the gift of Cube. I'm glad to have you back.
Good to be back. Good to feel like a person again, and good to talk about the Turbo Cube, which is a nice treat every once in a while.
A sometimes treat.